Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Bona Muhammad. Welcome back to another episode of MuslimiMeets, where we get a chance to meet really fun, interesting, amazing people in our community. And I'm joined with my wonderful brother Hassan Fils. Assalamu alaikum, hi brother. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, man, I'm good.
And I have my wonderful co-host today, Sister Ashley Pearson Khan, who's joining us. And look, this guy here, man, mashallah, tabarakallah. I'm proud of you, Akhi.
Thank you, man.
I'm proud of you, man. I mean, the things you've been able to accomplish, getting into the, comedy scene, and I say you're a self-made man, bro. Like you really came up the hard way, Like, and comedy is one of those genres that I think I have so much respect for, and I think it's so hard to do. It's not an easy thing. Like I'm a poet, I'm a performer. Like you can fake it a lot of times. Like even a bad poet will get applauses, but a bad comedian you're not gonna get no laughs, So, I mean, for the people that maybe don't know you or don't know your story, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to even get into poetry, to even get into comedy? Because I know it wasn't something that, you could study in school.
It was just something I found something that I was good at. I think rarely do men or like young black men find something that they're good at and run with it. And alhamdulillah, like I was able to I tried it once when I was 22 or something like that.
Right.
Realized it took a little bit more discipline. And so I carried out the rest of my life. And then when I was like about 25, I said, okay, this is something I really want to dedicate my time to. Let's do it. And if you could dedicate like maybe 5 years to something that you want to do for the next like 20, 30 years of your life, then you should be better off. I mean, like you do that with school already, right?
Yeah.
So,
and we're still dumb at the end of it.
Hey, man, my cousin's supposed to be an engineer right now. This guy's doing security on King Street, man. So it's like, and he said, hey, man, he's chasing dreams.
But look, so when that first time you got on stage, what was that like? Did you have written content? Did you already write down your set?
I had just an idea in my mind, and I think I was like certain of it. I went up and I tried it. It went well. And then the second time I did it, I thought I could just do the same thing, wing it again. I bombed, and I was like, okay, respect this craft a little bit. I went on, carried on with my life.
Learn as you go, type of thing.
Learn
as you go.
Learn as you go, right?
Yeah.
Trial and error. But if you're gonna do trial and error half-assed, then you're never really gonna get any better.
Yeah.
So.
Did you have anyone encouraging you, like people that were like, "Man, you're so funny. Like you should try stand-up comedy," or was it just something on your own? You were like, "I'm gonna try this thing out." But did you have somebody in your corner who was like, "Yeah, do it"?
I think everybody has I had like one friend who like I think at the time was my manager at Foot Locker when I worked there. He was like, "Yo, man, you should go try this, man." And then, but initially, man, if you ever want to do anything for years, it was. I would like to say it was like pretty much my idea, because I took the time to go find out where the open mics were, and I signed myself up. I remember, actually, ironically, it was like a birthday. Somebody asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I told them specifically what I wanted. I said, I want stand-up comedy classes. I sent them the link to this thing. This is what I want. And guess what they got me? Shoes.
What a good friend.
Right? And so I was like, okay. Then,
great listening skills.
Yeah. So I went and I said, skip the classes, whatever. And then we just went straight into the mix. I just showed up.
Foot Locker?
Nah.
Oh, I thought the shoes led to Foot Locker.
That's my origin story.
Yeah, it's the origin story.
I was like, were you already working at Foot Locker? That'd be even more ironic. I got shoes while I'm working at a shoe store. That's not what I wanted.
No, but look, I mean, you said it yourself, the craft, right? It really is a craft. It's not something, and this is for everyone watching that thinks, oh, I can just jump on stage and be funny. Like, it really is something that you have to understand the structure of jokes. You have to understand, how to communicate with an audience, how to, get your applause, all that stuff. And you've taken the time, really, and through trial and error, through going up, bombing, right? It's a process. And I think for a lot of people, they get discouraged if they do bad the first time. Well, explain to me that bombing experience. I know Muslims, we don't bomb. We try to stay away from bombing.
I don't say the
B word. Time out. No.
I know better
But in that case, it was a good bombing, right? Like you learned something from it, I hope.
Yeah, man. It definitely is like, you ever play Duck, Duck, Goose?
Yeah.
That's what bombing feels like. But now that when you're starting off, man, when you get goosed, when you touch the goose, you got to go and there's some turbulence, right? You got to chase after this person.
Yeah.
And when you start off, man, it could be goose, goose, duck, maybe, But as you get better, you'll get more ducks.
Yes.
Yes. But if you live in fear of getting goose, man, you'll never taste the duck, man.
Yo, that's a quote right there. Somebody saved that. Somebody clipped that
You
part.
should put that on a shirt.
And we're gonna turn that into a clothing line. We're gonna start with that, inshallah. But look, I think one thing that I'm really impressed with is the fact that you have such a unique voice. Not a lot of people, I think, from our community are able to express themselves in a funny way the way you have been able to. And I think for a lot of us, me included, watching you is like we're rooting for ourselves. It's like, oh my God, like I know this guy. I know his story. I know where you come from. I know your background. I have so much in common with you that I typically have never been able to connect with other comedians in the same way. A lot of your content, I think even being, about talking about Scarborough, talking about your mixed heritage, like these are topics that, and I think you can attest to this, your voice is so unique in the sea of other comedians. What is it like, when you hear other comedians talk about, the same old, and then you come up with that, that Scarborough flavor, that slang, whatever, that just, especially in the US, right, where it's not as common.
I think, yeah, man, Toronto is a very special place, man. I feel like everybody has a friend like me, but there just isn't doing stand-up comedy. Yeah. I think I give group chat energy. You know what I mean?
Big time.
Like group chat energy. And that's what I wanted to feel, man. I don't like the idea of being like a public servant or anything like a public figure of some kind. I'm a public servant, man. I'll do a show and you'll see me on the TTC afterwards, man. It's not
keep it a buck. That's
keep it a buck. It's not that it isn't that serious, but I think the voice and the cadence it's where it comes from. I think like when I'm on stage, I don't have a voice that I do there and then I turn it off here. It's kind of all in the one and the same.
So I'm going to ask one more question, then you're going to jump in, okay? A lot of people are social media funny. A lot of people that rely on sketches, they rely on editing, they rely on all that kind of stuff to be funny. But you obviously, I'm sure you can do that. It's not your forte from what I've seen. Like you are, you've really honed in on the stand-up craft. What's the difference between the two? Why is it that sometimes people can be funny online, but in real life they just suck or they're bomb versus the opposite? Maybe there's some people who are really great online, but really great in person, but can't do the online stuff.
Oh man, that's a delicate one, man, because there's so many different, dialects of humor, man. There's some guys who are, again, I tip my hat to them, who are extremely funny on online and willing to and like could keep up that persona or whatever. But live and direct is just something that I really love. But I realized it had to take a lot of work. So I started off way back in the day. I was doing YouTube videos, and then when I fell in love with the idea of being a stand-up comic, I realized, okay, this is where I gotta like funnel my attention and my dedication and discipline. And it's like living in an avatar. Like you can't live in your avatar state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the social media is like it's an avatar, man. But sometimes the avatar doesn't add up in real life.
I know, subhanAllah.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of people that I'll be frank with you. A lot of people that online, it's a lot easier for them to hide behind, again, like literally video editing, or, you're able to really kind of craft an image for yourself. But I have so much respect for stand-up comedians that can work a crowd, because I come from a background of performing as well. I know that being able to, like studio MCs versus like, to be able to rock a crowd, it's a very unique skill set, because it requires you to, first of all, you have to disarm your audience. People have to want to pay to come and see you, And I think what you've been doing, and I'm really in love with it, is even the audience that you're attracting is a very unique audience. It's an audience that has not been catered to in the past. What are you seeing about your shows that's different, and what kind of crowds are you bringing to your shows that maybe other comedians can't attract?
Man, I think for the last 2 years I've been focused on like instead of focusing on the obstacles, whether it be, I don't know, industry, game plan. Not that they're even like against me. They're not working against me. I think it's just like a matter of time before those opportunities come about. But I like the idea, again, servicing my people directly. So it starts off with like family, friends, or like people who are in the know. But when I came back to Toronto, man, there's a lot of Muslims that wanted to come to shows that I was promoting. But like, comedy is like, it's in these dingy places, man, nightclubs, bars, comedy bars, lounges, you know what I mean? But I'll promote a flyer just like because I was happy to be on a show. And you'll see like 30 hijabis, freaking Muslim man with their wives coming through, and it's like it's in a bar, they're at the bar, and I know who they're there for. So I was like, okay, let me take some initiative and create a space where people could come and enjoy a night of comedy where there isn't any variables such as like liquor, people under the influence, and Jabi's feeling like that. Maybe they're the only ones there.
Yeah,
the only I don't know. And so I took the time. I'd book my own venue. I'd get the chairs. It'd be a dry space, but get the chairs, get the audio equipment. Now it's a comedy club or whatever it may be.
Right.
So I've been doing that for I've done about like 12 of those kind of shows in the past year. And I love Toronto, man. Toronto is the best city in the world. It started off with a lot of East Africans coming out to support, and then an eclectic group of people from Toronto, because Toronto, that's what we have, man. We have the Desi community, the Otto community, people who just like the white guys, the freaking Uxbridge that love.
Shout out Uxbridge.
Shout out the Uxbridge that love hood politics. They're like, yo, I know a guy that talks like this, you know? It's like, and you bringing in a lot of faces, man. And that's, comedy is such a secular thing that everybody should come through and enjoy, whether it's like, whether I'm freaking Muslim or non-Muslim, or you're from Toronto or not from Toronto. The job of a stand-up comic is to make strangers laugh, you know? And that's what I knew early on from the start. So like even when I started, I never told anybody where I was. Or where I told them where I was. I never told them where I was going to be. After I was gone, they'd be like, oh, he was there. I never got to see him.
Wow.
Because why would I want my friends to come see me? I'm got to go make strangers laugh. You know?
You've made a name for yourself and you've made it this far. Where do you go from here? Is there a place where maybe you want to perform that you haven't performed and you're like, this is my goal? Like, what are your goals for the future?
It's probably a lot. I can list some of his goals. I feel like, man, bro, you should be doing stadiums. We should get you. We should get you to the point.
No, I mean little spaces. Like, what big spaces you want to be
I'm just answering your questions for you. Because I'm passionate about. I think, bro, you should be doing like, you know, Netflix. People say they want Netflix specials. I think there can be equivalents of that. There's some comedians now that are releasing them themselves on YouTube and getting people to donate tips and stuff like that. So I think the future is in your favor. I think there's going to be ways to maximize and optimize your content online that these, you know, gatekeeping platforms may not be able to offer. I think bigger venues, you know, man, I wish that we could, and there are some, you know, mashallah, Preacher Moss, Azhar Usman, you know, guys that are even here with us today, people that have kind of, you know, helped pave that path. But I want to see comedy on a bigger scale. I think even Muslim comedy, bro, we just came out of a pandemic, man. Like, people want to laugh. There needs to be that balance, you know? And I think by being able to make people laugh in a way that is, you know, permissible, and it's not, you know, we're not mocking the religion, we're doing it in a fun and halal way. That's the kind of culture and lifestyle that I wish we would promote more of. And I think that for someone like you're an inspiration to a lot of the younger comedians coming up now. Because just like, and it's not to toot my own horn, but when I started doing poetry, a lot of people didn't know you could do that. You know, they didn't feel like, okay, can I do Islamic poetry? Like, is that a thing, right? I feel like you doing what you're doing now is showing a lot, especially East African and a lot of people from the diaspora. No, you can do it, and you can have your own unique identity. You don't have to sound American. You don't have to have this other fake voice, right? You can embrace who you are, and it can be funny. And people from outside of our community will still rock with it. They'll still like it as well.
Yeah, man. I do like that. I like the idea of, especially for East Africans, man, there's a lot of pioneers in the game, in the creative space, at least, like whether it be photography. One of my boys makes and sells ice cream. You know, little things, man. Like we're all on the forefront of doing something new. We're all taking notes from one another. Like if you look at like the Arab community, the Desi community, a lot of these guys, they pour into each other's cups a lot. Yeah. Whether it be you need a mechanic, these guys, I got a family, right? Dental hygiene, MRI, anything. These guys are keeping it in house. Whereas like even like. And now I think the East African community, we're slowly getting to that point where we're plugging ourselves in it. And essentially, man, you want to be able to put yourself in a position where you could benefit your family, your friends, and members of the community. That's the goal of every Muslim at that, right?
Yeah.
So imagine if we all took that initiative, man, we'd all be in a better place.
Man, I'm so excited for the future. Like, I see what your generation is doing, and I'm like, man, the sky's the limit.
I'm very happy that you're happy for me in that regard. Like, the last time I met someone with some of that same enthusiasm was when I was in Sudan, and everybody was there would ask me, what do you feel about the country? How do you like the country? Do you love the country? Tell me what you think about the country, man. And I was excited because I told them I love the country because they're so excited to hear what I have to say about the country. Yeah. And they want to leave that good impression of my experience. So I'm glad that I feel like my pursuit is an experience for a lot more people than even
We're all
myself.
sitting there watching, eating the popcorn, laugh. Because I see a future where someone like you could easily, bro. We talk about Russell Peters, talk about all these big, like you could become that, bro. It's not hard. I think the trajectory you're on right now, I honestly think like the sky's the limit. And I hope and I pray, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you that tawfiq that you can, you know, take your skill set and we can help grow this brand of comedy. And I think it's so cool. It's so inclusive. I feel like even you being able to do, you know, larger Muslim crowds, Arabs, non-Arabs, Desis, whatever. I feel like you have that appeal.
Anybody could get it, man.
That's what I'm saying.
White people too, man.
Hey. That's it. White power. I mean, no. Hey.
Hey, man,
Take that back.
That's a little far.
That's a little far. My bad.
Let them get it, man.
Yeah, no. But look, we you know, we've had a great conversation. Where can people find out more about your comedy? How can they follow you? How can they support you in everything you're doing?
Yeah, man. Social media is a good place, man. That's where I usually update.
What's your tell us your MySpace. What's your MySpace?
Not MySpace. The only space is my personal space, man.
There you
I protect that, man. But
no Black Planet, nothing.
Yeah, Black Planet.
Oh, my bad. I'm dating myself now. That's old. You know Black
I don't
Planet?
even know what that is.
Oh,
What?
that is, man.
Asian Avenue? No? Damn. All right. Cool.
I mean,
Let's
I
keep
knew
it
it was
moving.
MySpace
Yeah.
was,
You used
but
to shop
I
on
don't
Orson. You go on Orphans Road for
no.
back to school
AOL,
shopping.
yeah.
Man? Oh,
Orphans Road, bro. You used to get some deals back then, bro.
yeah.
Yo,
That's where I got
Orphans
these
Road.
pants, man. Orphans Road.
You guys don't know about Orphans Road, bro. Get out of here, man. Anyways,
but-
go ahead. So where can we
Hassan
find you?
Phils. Instagram is Hassan. That one.
Yeah.
Hassan
This one,
Phils.
yeah. This one, yeah.
Uh,
Or that, yeah. All of this one too. Yeah.
Well,
This one
Hassan
right here. Yeah.
Phils. That's it right there, man.
Instagram, website
Instagram, website, HassanPhils.com.
.com. Okay.
That's
Check
all.
him
I
out.
don't have that website yet, but it's coming.
It's coming, inshallah. By the time you see this will be published in 6 years anyway, so that's fine. By that time, it'll just be a chip in your brain.
This
It'll
will
just be-
age well, then.
Yeah, exactly. There you
This
go.
will, inshallah, this age as well.
Inshallah. So please check out my brother, inshallah. Make sure you support him and make sure you watch more of our great content here at Muslimi. We'll be seeing you all very soon for more amazing content, inshallah. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.